From Bears Last Stand to Saban's empire, we built the league, broke the mold, and rewrote the code. Crimson Tide, unstoppable, undeniable, untouchable. 7-9 champs, goal line stand. Barry Cross made Penn State fold their hand. Chile ran, Ogilvie danced. Sugar Bowl glory, banner advance. Ray Perkins brought Bennett's wrath. 3-time All-American cleared the path. Bill Curry's crew, Siren Stacy's fire. Feet steep crown, Crimson never tired. Gene Stallings, 9-2 reign. Teague stripped Miami, left them in pain. Jay Barker Lassick, Odin Tide. Langham locked down, Thorpe took flight. We're nothing but a winner. The best to ever do it. Crimson Tide rolls deep. No one cannot do it. Built for the lights, bred for the fight. We don't chase greatness, we define it right. Saban touchdown, turn fire to flame. 6 rings later, they chant his name. And Graham ran wild, first Heisman won. 2009 Texas came undone.
Roll Tide, roll, everybody, roll Tide, roll. And thank you for joining me here on TightSports for another segment of Across the Tundra, where I handle things, address things that are happening outside of the Crimson Tide or off the campus of the University of Alabama that may indeed infect or impact, I should say infect too, the University of Alabama. As I'm continuing on with this little series I'm doing on the times when the NCAA was just absolutely ridiculous in their assessments. They overreach, I call it, when they were punishing people for a little of nothing. I went through 15 instances, and I want to go through the next 15 because they get more interesting as we go along. It's pretty much some of the same stuff, and you hear a lot of the same names. You hear Florida State a lot, you hear Alabama a lot. Just because you got snitches out there like Tennessee who just help them do whatever it is. Yeah, you know what it is. You know Tennessee. Yeah, you're a bunch of snitches. Yeah. Yeah, you don't talk about your own bookie in your backyard. You're gonna talk about the bookie in our yard. That's just, you can't be trusted. I don't like you, Tennessee, because you're snitches. Matter of fact, take this. Yeah, that's for you, Tennessee. Yeah. The terrible people. Awful. And colorblind. Clear. Yeah, that's enough. That's enough of that. Yeah, that's enough of that. Remember to join me for Around the Herd, my live show, 7 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday, 6 p.m. Central. Also, for those in the Central Standard Time Zone. Moving on, subscribe and like this. Subscribe to the channel, and please, subscribe and like this video. Anyway, number 15, free Florida State. They called it Free Shoe U. This was a big fallout in July 1993. I never forget it, because that FSU, that Free Shoe U is stuck. It was all over the papers. They called them Free Shoe U, and it embarrassing people. I think 1994 they won that championship, or 95. Maybe the free shoes is what got them over. But players got free shoes again, the same shoes that the NCAA profited from. The same dang shoes. And they turned into a national scandal, because every time you see that little blue tag that says NCAA or whatever color it is, they're gonna get that cut. Sanctions hit harder than the infractions deserve. The nickname stuck longer than the punishment. They really did. And the NCAA used public shaming as a weapon. Today it's just a shoe deal. People getting shoe deals out of 8th grade and 6th, 7th grade. You go to a Nike camp, guess what you're gonna get? Nikes. You go to an Under Armour camp for something, guess what you're gonna get? No, you'll get Under Armour gear, just shoes, everything. Number 14, Oregon recruiting perks. April 2011, Oregon used it. Oh, I remember this. Oregon used a scouting service to find players, and the players got small perks for being a part of this process. And the NCAA treated it like it was a structural threat. They didn't want nobody looking at these players before they hit campus. Now, has anybody ever heard of the NCAA clearinghouse? Yeah. You want a scholarship? Put your name over here. They're going to make sure you deserve a scholarship. You got your SAT score. Don't even get me started on Prop 48. That nightmare. If you don't have a certain SAT score, your GPA got to be here. We're going to create a sliding scales and make sure you guys should be in college. But back to this thing in Oregon, sanctions hit the program, didn't do nothing about the problem. Them same guys that was making them deals now, they still around. The NCAA pretended like it didn't, it didn't live off this type of recruiting hype. They need the recruits just as much as the teams did. They drew arbitrary lines around this morality. Oh, you can't do that. You can't be sifting through high school players. We already got a sift. Now coaches are complaining about these third parties all day long. Because, every time the NCAA reach up there now, what's his name? I'm trying to think of Chief Justice Roberts. He takes that gavel and hit the NCAA right in their hand. Get your hand back. You couldn't fix it. Now let somebody else fix it. Now we're just in a free economy. This is why it's messed up. I don't want to point at the players for his mom like she don't work. I don't want to hear none of that. This is the reason why we are where they are. Because these are just a couple of stories. There are many more. Number 13, North Carolina again, minor benefits versus the fake classes. Okay. October 2014, players got hit for small benefits. Meanwhile, for a decade, academic sham ram was untouched. They just ran just untouched. The NCAA hammered the small stuff and ignored the big stuff. I addressed it in the other thing, but they cared more about these free trips and these fake degrees. They chose the easy targets. And now, in this NIL era, we can see how backwards they were thinking, how wrong they were. For 80 years, I would say at least since 1960s, 66 or 67 was the first TV contract. It doesn't go all the way back to 1910. If you played football in the 1930s, you really wanted to play football, right? Had nothing to do with money. It was all about chicks. Not just saying. But the NFL, this NIL has exposed how backwards that was. Now, the Baylor cash cases. Yeah. May 2004. Players got small cash gifts. The NCAA treated it like it was a moral collapse of society, and they were the right entity to keep society together. The sanctions did nothing to address real issues. The NCAA was obsessed over these pennies while ignoring institutional favors. They kept, the focus on the players and not the systems that were being used. The systems could benefit however they wanted to. And now you know why we have these huge NIL checks coming through. Yeah, the NCAA could have said, you know what, we'll give you up to $25,000. They would not be in. That's the problem. I mean, when the leagues started allowing $4,000, $5,000 as a monthly stipend, the NCAA could have came in and be like, look, if you got it, go ahead and pay the guys about $50,000. They didn't do that, did they? They let Justice Roberts come in with his big brown gavel, and he laid down the smackers. Now we got what people call chaos. And I call it payback. Number 11, the UCA minor benefits case, June 2006. Beyond Reggie Bush, UNC players were scrutinized for tiny perks. The NCAA treated USC like the symbol that it needed to break. The sanctions piled up over trivial stuff. They made an example of this powerhouse. They were a powerhouse at the time, but they made sure they broke them down and basically took them down to their very knees. The NCAA they punished them mostly because of the optics that this created, not the fairness. They were just really hot with them guys, and they wanted them to pay. And they made them suffer for a long time through all these sanctions. Number 10. Now we're getting into the good ones. These are the ones that really just pretty much pissed me off. Dez Bryant was suspended for a lie. The NCAA versus fear. September 2009. I know people look at Dez Bryant, they like, the braggadocious football player, blah, blah, blah. But, let's see how you act when you're a college student and the people in dark suits drag you into a room and start asking you questions about, you wonder if it was a murder case, it's a felony case or whatever. And you just you trying to provide as little information as possible and you're not represented by nobody. So Bryant lied about a legal dinner with Deion Sanders. Yeah, Deion Sanders was not a coach. He was not a recruiter. He was Deion Sanders, I think still worked for NFL Network. Now you say, what was his penalty for doing that, for lying? It's a lie, it was one lie. One lie, yeah, okay, he indeed lied. The NCAA suspended that man for his entire senior season, forcing him to, go into the NFL early. The whole year. The lie came from fear, and they punished that fear. They wanted everybody else to be afraid to lie to the NCAA. His whole season, 12 games, and possibly a bowl game. Or was it 10 games in a bowl? Yeah, no, 12. Maybe in 10 games or 12 games, and maybe a bowl game, because Gundy was doing something back then. The NCAA valued obedience over context. They didn't care. They destroyed this man's season and messed up the season of the team over nothing. How many dinners are they getting now that people are sick of talking about? Now, this is a person I really don't care for. Number 9, Johnny Manziel, August 2013, was suspended with no proof. The NCAA versus Vibes. Manziel was accused of autographing payments. The NCAA investigated and found no proof, none, not a zilch. They still suspended this game because of how it was a videotape involved too, because of in a hotel room or recording, because of how the optics look. And who was there to say, no, in the NCAA, that's not right? Nobody was there because they could do what they wanted to do. They punished this man for suspension, for suspicion, not facts. Mouth getting dry. I'm getting upset in here. They wanted to protect its image, not fairness. Now these autograph sessions, man, these boys making? That's talking about why they making so much money for signing autographs at a dealership? Because it's payback time, suckers. Point blank and period. It's payback time. Remember to hit that like button. Number 8, Todd Gurley. Autograph suspension. The NCAA versus value, October 2014. Gurley accepted money for autographs. Yes, he did. The NCAA suspended this man for 4 games. His Heisman hopes disappeared because ain't no way you're going to miss 4 games still to keep your numbers up. I don't know where he came in and voted, nothing like that, but 4 games is just about to take anybody out. Injury, no matter what it's caused by. The NCAA profited from his name while punishing him for doing the same. Now, what does that mean? He put on a Georgia jersey that said his name, Gurley, on the back. They sell those jerseys with what? That little blue sticker that says NCAA or black and gold, whatever color it is, it says NCAA with the little T at the bottom. They get their money. Mr. Gurley, how dare you try to get our money? Huh? We're going to print your name and make money off of it. We don't need your autograph. And how dare you try to make some money without us? Huh? It's foolishness. This was just a reminder, in a way, that the NCAA may not own your body, but the NCAA owns your value. I'm going to leave that right there. NCAA own their value. I'm going to leave it right there. Let you ponder on that. Number 7, Tattoo 5. Oh my God. I remember this. This was so crazy. NCAA versus personal property. December 2010. Players traded memorabilia for tattoos. Some people call it bartering. Some people call it, exchange of goods. The NCAA act like they were running a cartel of memorabilia. Suspensions and Players got suspended and wins were vacated. They criminalized bartering your own stuff. They made players know that nothing truly belonged to them. And how is that even possible in America? They ran the NCAA like they were a communist doggone regime. Even we're a dictatorial communist regime. My apologies to the communist regimes out there. The dictatorial communist regime, the totalitarian, they call it totalitarianism, something like that. Well, one entity just controls everything. It's just crazy. Now players are opening their own tattoo shops, for which I am happy. And to go even further with this, I don't know if this is one of them, but one player from here who couldn't be penalized by the NCAA because he was a senior, he got penalized by the NFL. That may have been Tagliabue. Not sure if it was Goodell. I don't remember which commissioner it was. And the players union agreed to that mess. He wasn't even in the union when this stuff happened. Number 6, Alabama textbook fallout. Yes, it happened again. I think it happened. It had 2 different cases on it, if I'm not mistaken. As I said in the last video, they vacated some wins behind this stuff. They erased the accomplishments of these people over providing academic material. And just to refresh your memory, the players had books and gave them to other students. See that? The benefits were flowing away from the football team. Away from the athletes. Because this involved like 6 different teams, if I'm not mistaken. Not just football players. But it was about 30-something. This is flowing out of, they got their books for free. Then they want to bless somebody else with these books for whatever reason. Maybe they sold them. I don't give a damn. You see, they punish this generosity with a historical erasure. Like what you did last season don't even count. It's all for nothing. They showed that they could rewrite history on a whim. Hey, you didn't win that. They paid the price, man, for technicalities back in those days. And they weren't the only ones either. NCAA hit my own school with some stuff. We're a Division II monster, Tuskegee University, but they hit us across the head for some stuff. I can't remember exactly what for. But they ran this. It was like some kind of crime boss. They was running this thing crazy. Number 5, Miami booster lifestyle, August 2011. Players accepted to entertain from a criminal booster. They were punished harder than the criminal. I don't know about that in the very end because this person I'm thinking about, that dude went to jail for a long time because he had some other things going on with the federal government. They ignored the power imbalance of what they were doing. You know what I'm saying? The suspensions hit kids who they didn't even create this whole situation. It was crazy. Moving on to number 4. I can't stand this one right here. And I'm not a Georgia fan. I have respect for Georgia, but this AJ Green jersey sale really pissed me off. September 2010. Green sold his own jersey. Let's just start right there. They suspended this man 4 games. This is what gets me. They profited from his number while punishing him from doing the same. The NCAA made it clear, your name, our money. They destroyed fairness to protect control. Remember saying they may not control the player's body, but they control the value that can be placed on their body. That's why Justice Roberts and his band of merry justices dropped the hammer on the NCAA because they sick of them. This stuff is unfair. You can't do this nowhere else in America. Nowhere. Even some high schools and states have started to drop their rules behind this stuff. As long as you're not recruiting players to a high school, who cares how much money they make? They've been in this school system for 8 years and somebody's starting to give them some money. Oh man, you may never see college back in the day. Number 3. Now this was wild. The SMU death penalty. Now today, they had some things going on. Let me just go through this. NCAA versus proportionality. February 1987 is when this came down. People like Craig James, Eric Dickerson, Hall of Famer, NFL Hall of Famer, they were a part of this. Players received modest payments, and the NCAA came down and looked around there. They annihilated the program. They said, y'all can't even participate no more. The punishment was like nuclear. The crime, you know, it was NIL legal. People say they had a fun house. They go to a house they have a lot of fun at. I don't know if they're not doing that now legally with a fence around on private property. I mean, people making so much money. But SMU became that cautionary tale for nothing, really. The NCAA just wanted to have a what you call a sacrificial lamb, or somebody to hang up like a trophy to say, you better not mess with us. Because, you know, they had the structured payments, cars or whatever, but then when it went past that, you know, over into what the players were doing with the money or what boosters set up for them, it was a big mess. Some of the stuff was illicit, but, you know, some of it, I guess you could say something based on the rumors. If the rumors were true, those things were illegal at the time. But just the basic setting up of the payment is the only thing that, you know, they really dinged them on, because there was payments for everybody. They had a very good team too. But now it's just legal. The NCAA could have came in there and said, okay, you pay players $20,000. And you know what? If you've done that, you may not be paying people $2 million a year right now. That's the point that I'm trying to make. The NCAA did nothing. Don't expect them to do something now because they have no power, because Justice Roberts is going to pop him across the head with his gavel. Number 2, oh yeah, USC scorched earth. June 2010, Reggie Bush's family received housing help when they relocated to Los Angeles to watch their son play. Mom had a job, and the NCAA came in there and they burnt USC to the ground. Not as far as they went with SMU, but they erased wins, scholarships, and this man got stripped of his Heisman Trophy, which I think he got back in 2024, 2025. I'm waiting to see if they're gonna put him in the Heisman. Has he been in the Heisman House commercials? Because he missed all that money. He's been making a career of it, but he missed all that. They stripped that man of potential earnings for being on TV as a Heisman Trophy winner. Look at Desmond Howard. He could be sitting right next to Desmond Howard from the beginning. But he played. I think he got a Super Bowl ring, and now he got his Heisman back. Congratulations to him. They punished a generation of USC football players because of one family's rent. The NCAA used him as USC as a billboard for fear, man. And that is it's just part of the course right now. I know people always say, like, why did Tua's family, the Tagliavoas, why did they move all the way from Hawaii to Alabama? They want to watch their son play. How did they do it? That ain't none of your business, especially now. Number one in this thing is the entire pre-NIL system, man. The NCAA versus every damn player we ever heard of that got sanctioned from 1906 to 2001. That's the number one crime that's happened. Players couldn't earn money from their name, from their value. You couldn't carry your behind the work if you was on scholarship. They built an empire off those names in the billions. Like I said, I don't know about 1906, but I know in the 60s when they got the first TV deal, they started becoming millionaires. Or the NCAA became a millionaire entity, non-profit, by the way. Careers were derailed over pennies. What maybe Dez Bryant would not been so hyperbolic or bombastic on the field if he played one more year of college football. They didn't care about that. Can you imagine how many people were NCAA or somebody comes up to you like, hey, if you know that money I gave you on this table, well, my team is such and such. If you come out right now, they say you'd be the number one pick. But I want to stay in college, sir. Well, I'm going to take that away from you. I'm going to go to the NCAA. It's no telling what people have done. Because my buddy always says, you know, somebody come and make you a deal you can't refuse. And the deal could sound like this. You can either take what's in this suitcase, or you can be inside this suitcase. I hope it's not going down like that, but you know, folks out here sick. Man, it's like I said, the system enforced poverty and fear as the standard poverty. And what we say is you don't touch nothing. NIL exposed the whole era as one long overreach. And that is why we are where we are. They dragged this mess in the court, starting with the Ed O'Bannon case. But EA Sports is making video games. They paying NCAA they cut. And not only Ed O'Bannon wasn't in college, neither was Oscar Robertson in college. And Oscar Robertson said he don't even remember signing the doggone scholarship agreement. And it definitely didn't say what Ed O'Bannon said. So why are you selling my likeness? And that's why EA Sports, they signed up on that check. Your Honor, is that good enough? Gave it to the players, and they said, we paid them. I don't know why they didn't pay them, but we paid them. My bad. They got out of there, and they shut that game down for a long period of time. And there it is, man, the number one overreach. It wasn't a moment. It was an entire era, a decade of improper control, decades of hypocrisy, and decades of punishing players for daring to exist in a $1 billion industry. The NCAA strutted around like a sheriff of college sports, really more like a doggone, more like a dictator. And, they handed out punishments that ruined seasons, erased legacies, and kept athletes one step from financial disaster a lot of times. People being suspended for getting suits for going to grandma's funeral, and a plane ticket, or sometimes a bus ticket, is improper. It's improper for you to do that, coach. You can't do that. And I ain't even gonna talk about how when we thought there's a level playing field, there are instances, and I want to see if I can research them, where the NCAA did nothing. All while this organization cashed in every check, signed every TV deal, and smiled for the camera. Now, in 2026, NIL cases have exposed the truth. Most of what the NCAA punished people for wasn't corruption. As we all knew out here on the regular streets, it was all about survival, getting what you can. From the players that I know personally that would give their whole stipend checks to their parents because they needed it, and they still had to come up with other hustles to make it. So don't tell me about, let's go, NCAA come up with rules. We don't want them making no more damn rules. And that's the way I see it right here on TightSports. If you don't like it, I'm sorry. If you disagree, leave in the comments. We can fuss about it for a little while, but I don't know I can't. Who's out here defending the NCAA? I hope nobody. But always remember, roll, tide,